guys, it's Lynn here. Hope everyone's having a brilliant day. Now in this video I'm going to be repotting my Cleistocactus baumannii, what a name, as you can see here. Now it's only a smallish cactus. It's one of the tall ones, but it's only small in comparison to some of the big ones I've got. And what I'm going to be doing is potting it up from this pot here into the next size up, which is this one. As you can see, it's very top heavy. The roots aren't coming through the bottom of the pot, but because it's so top heavy, I'm going to repot it into a slightly bigger pot and see how it goes. Now, I've already done a video on how to repot a cactus, so I'm not going to bore you with repotting this whole in this video because it could go on for a bit long. But if you haven't seen that video, links up above. I go into detail on how you can repot a cactus, and I do two examples of a tall spiny one and a round barrel cactus. And I'm just going to show you in this video what it looks like before and what it looks like potted up. Also guys, this cactus here, this weird and wacky snake-like cactus, had a beautiful flower on it last year, and if you haven't seen the video, check it out. Put the links up above to it as well. Gorgeous, unusual, funnel-shaped flower, lovely sort of pinky fuchsia colour. They're sort of unusual Cleistocactus flowers are, but weird and wacky. As you can see, it's a very spiny plant, but funny enough, although it's very spiny, it's not actually that sharp. The spines are quite soft, so it's not going to bite me too much. But I'll show you what it's like now and what it looks like when it's potted up. Now guys, I'm not going to go into too much detail because I explain it more in my how to repot a cactus video, but just in brief here, whenever you're obviously repotting a plant, a cactus and succulent here, it's a good opportunity to check over the root system. As you can see, this plant was a bit root bound around the edges, but it's not really root bound at the bottom, which is why the roots weren't coming through the bottom of the pot, so that's pretty good. And the roots they look a little bit cramped, but other than that they're okay. And I'm just going to pot it up into the next pot. Now, some people obviously recommend teasing away the roots. It really is up to you. In this case, it's not that root bound at the bottom, so I'm going to leave it. And because I'm potting it up into this pot, which is wider, I'm going to gently put the soil around it, and these roots here that have been compact will gently regrow and grow into the fresh soil. Personally, in my experience, the less you touch the roots, the better. Unless they're obviously damaged or decayed, then obviously you cut back the roots. But as I say, I explain more in my how to repot a cactus video, so I'm not going to bore you all with the details here. But it's a good root system on that, which I'm really pleased with. Now, the soil mix I like to make, I've already done a video on how to make cactus soil, so I don't need to go into detail on there, but it's always a very personal mix. Some people like to use extra sand, some people like to use extra grit, some people like to use extra perlite. I sort of like to use either perlite, sand or grit, but I always like to use a loam based soil as my base. And in this case I'm using John Innes No. 2. I don't like using peat base, and I've mentioned that before. It just dries like cardboard, so I prefer to use a loam based soil, and I mix it with extra perlite and a bit of horticulture sand as well, of 3 equal parts. And I put a link up above to the video at the top on how to make cactus soil if you haven't seen that, so check that out guys. And then I'm just going to obviously put a bit of this in the bottom of the pot. And what you want to try and do is always put the soil obviously all around the edges, but when you do so is to tuck it in completely, as far down as you can. Tuck it in all around the edges and work all the way around. And I mention that in all of my repotting videos, because if you just put the soil, you know, half-heartedly just place it in the new pot and just put the soil on the top, it can create a lot of air gaps, and this can sometimes cause and encourage a bit of root rot and things like that. So always make sure it's really tucked in. And then obviously fill the pot up to the top, leaving a slight bit of a space just so if you water it doesn't completely overflow. A quick tip just while I'm doing this guys, I say I mentioned it more in my how to repot a cactus video, but I just can't resist saying it this time, is that you know when you press all the way down and you've got all the air pockets out, it's when you actually squeeze it and you can't squeeze it anymore. Sometimes with a pot, especially with a plastic pot, you can't really do it with a ceramic one. Plastic, if you squeeze it and there's like, you know, space there, then you need to push more soil down the bottom. But in this case it's pretty compacted all up to the top. It's a good sign that it's all in nice and compact. There you go guys, that's it all potted up in its new pot. Now I haven't got any top dressing, so I've just left it as it is. I'll probably get some top dressing in the next couple of days to make it look a bit nicer, but that's it all potted up. Now what I always say, whenever you repot cactus or succulent, especially with the cacti, Do not water it at all once you've repotted it for at least 2 weeks. Minimum 10 days, preferably 2 weeks. And the reason for this is because cacti are very, very prone to rot if you water them after repotting them. So leave it for at least 2 weeks, just so it gives the roots a chance to settle into the new pot and for any damaged roots to heal themselves. And after a couple of weeks you should be okay to water as normal, as long as it's obviously their active growing period, the spring and summer. Obviously if you're repotting in the winter, keep them totally dry, unless you're growing obviously epiphytes and some of the winter growing succulents. There you go. I want to send you loads of love, heaps of happiness, and tons of cactus power, as always, from Ireland. Until the next video. Bye.